We're going to begin modeling our puzzle cube, and to do so, we're going to open up part files, and we're going to make our 5 puzzle cube parts. To do so, I'm going to make this red part first. As you can see, it's comprised of 5 different cubes, and there's a few different ways I could do this. To do least extrusions, I would simply draw this U shape in the front and extrude it back to a uniform depth. I could use additive logic, where I might make this bottom bar and add these 2 blocks. But I'm going to show you using a subtractive method, where I'll make an overall cube or overall box and then subtract the cube away in the middle. Let's show first how we can make a new part. You can come up to your Inventor Pro and go to New, and then select a new standard IPT. You now have your new part open. You'll notice on the bottom of your screen that you still have part 1 open, and if you hover over it, you can see it. So again, to make this part, we're going to go ahead, like I said, and we're going to make a box containing all of that in the XY plane. So let's create a 2D sketch. For this video, I'll be using the ribbon, which is this, located at the top of your user interface. Creating a 2D sketch, I'll choose the XY plane. Here's the origin in my XY plane. I typically like to try and work in the first quadrant, so I'll click my mouse wheel and drag it to the lower left corner. I'll start by making a 2-point rectangle. Now your default may not be 2-point rectangle. If you drop down, you can see you have different choices. 2-point rectangle is what I'll be using. I'll select the origin. When I get the green dot, I'll know I have a coincident constraint. I'll left click and go up. Instead of clicking in space and then dimensioning later, I'm going to type in my dimensions. The overall width for this part is 2.25 inches. The overall height is 1.5 inches. Now I have the entire part, the outer part done. I need to give it a 3rd dimension. I'm going to right click and go to Escape. I'm still in 2D mode. I can either go to Finish Sketch here at the green check mark on the ribbon, or I could right click. I've now been moved to 3D mode. You'll notice the ribbon has changed. I want to extrude this square so that I now have a box. The extrusion distance is going to be 0.75 inches. I'll hit OK. You now have a simple box. What I need to do to make this look just like this red part is go ahead and cut away this square on the top. So I'll right click on the top and I'll create a new sketch. On this sketch, I'm going to make a 2-point rectangle where the hole will be cut out. Notice when I go to choose the line, a coincident constraint comes up that shows an arrow pointing to the red line. That means my point is on the line. I'll click, and then I'm going to type in 0.75 for the overall width of this square. I'm going to tab, and instead of typing in 0.75, which I could do, I can come down, and if I get coincident to this line, it has to be 0.75 because that's a previous dimension. Next, I need to make sure that these 2 lines are 3/4 of an inch apart. I'll select Dimension from my ribbon, select each line, and go up. Now I'll make this 0.75 inches. Click the green check mark or hit Enter. Because I know the overall width is 2.25 and each of these are 0.75, I don't have to dimension this distance. Returning to an isometric view will allow me to visually see what's going on, and I'm going to again finish sketch. Next I'm going to extrude again. For this extrusion I must select a profile because there's more than one profile possible. I have 3 different squares. I could select each of them or only one of them, or any 2 of them. I'll select the middle square. You'll notice the default is for the extrusion to go upward. I want my extrusion to go down. I'll come to the application window. You'll notice it's on a join extrusion. I want to do a cut extrusion. Because it's red, it shows me that it's cutting away material. You'll also notice that the distance changed, or the direction changed here. I'll press OK, and there's my part. If I double-click my mouse wheel, I'll get to a regular view. Next, I need to change the part to red. I'll drop down the default, and I'll go for R for red, and then select red. Finally, you would need to save this part. Depending on what your teacher has told you to save it, make sure you save it in the right location, with the correct file name so you can find it and associate it later. You'll also notice that using my view cube, my front view has the most detail of any of my views, showing me the entire part. Typically, when you're modeling, you want to choose the most appropriate front view for your part.